Welcome to Practical Research 1. Now, before we proceed to our lesson proper for this week, let me ask you, what are the topics that we discussed last week? Yes, Madeline, correct. So we discussed observation. Okay, so when we say observation, again, it is one way of gathering data through observation, or when we say observation, watching, listening, and sometimes participating with our topic. We also discuss participant observation, where we discuss how to observe our participants. Okay? Yes, Rodelio, that is one way of data collection. So aside from observation, what did we discuss in data collection? Aside from observation, we discuss, okay, Maine, Joaquin, and Madeline, yes, the interview. So again, when we say interview, it is asking a set of question. Okay, so as in interview, we have the in-depth interview or the one-on-one interview. Also, in interview, it has two types, the written and the verbal. When we say written, it is somehow in a form of survey questionnaire. When we say interview or the face-to-face interview, it is verbal. So in verbal interview, it can be through with the use of technology, or it can be through phone, or to the use of social media, and even face to face. Okay, so we discussed observation and interview. Now we will discuss a new set of lesson, the module 17, analyzing the meaning of the data and drawing conclusions. So in this part of our discussion or lesson, we will discuss two things. First, and explain the patterns and themes from data, and also relate the findings with pertinent literature. So if you can still remember back in our previous topic, which is review of related literature and studies, meaning how can we look for the patterns or the themes of those literature. And at the same time, how can we infer or explain the themes in each participant answers. But before that, what do you mean by the word themes? Ano ba ibig sabihin ng theme or ano yung tinatawag nating theme? Okay, the main discussion, yes, Madeline. Yes, correct. Almost. Malapit na. Meron pang isa aside from main discussion. When we say theme, di ba, for example, I ask you, oh, what is the theme of the movie na napanood mo? What is the theme of the the book that you have read? Yes, from Madeline, the subject, from Rodelio, from Phoebe. Hmm. Mas sinulat ulit ni Rodelio. Okay, it is the subject of our topic, or the main subject of our topic. Okay, so actually we have ways in how are we going to find out those subject or themes. Okay, but before that, we should conduct content analysis first. When we say content analysis class, from the word itself, analyzing the content, meaning after gathering the data, after conducting an interview or observation, the next step is you will analyze those contents, or you will analyze those answers. Okay, so when we say content analysis, analyzing text like interview transcripts. So if you can still remember our discussion in interview where we discussed the transcription. When we say transcription of interview class, this is where you will form the script of the interview. Ibig sabihin, yung sagot, 'di ba, sa interview, since interview is verbal, gagawa niyo siya ng tinatawag na transcripts. Okay? Kung ano yung sinabi ni interviewee or ni participant, ayun yung ilalagay nyo or isusulat nyo sa transcript. Okay? Meaning you will analyze that text or you will analyze that answer. Also, any qualitative data reduction and sense-making effort that takes a volume of qualitative material and attempts to identify core consistencies and meanings. Kasi patterns are the basis for themes. Meaning, in every content, there is what we call the themes or patterns. Okay? So, how are we going to discover the theme? How are we going to discover the main subject or main topic of those texts? So when we say text, anything that is written, like a literature. Okay, so um, it can be from books, o kaya naman it can also be the answer of your participants in your questionnaire, or it can be anything that is written. Okay, no, we have certain different techniques. So, in order for us to discover the theme or the subject in those texts. So, first is word repetitions. Now, the question is, anong ginagawa kapag word repetitions? When we say word repetitions, class, meaning you will repeat a certain words or yung paulit-ulit na sinasabi or binabanggit sa text. Okay, mentioned several times. Kung ano yung words na laging inuulit ni participants. So for example, and even when we say word repetitions class, it has something to do with the choice of words ni participants. When we say choice of words, ano ba yung mga ginagamit niyang word para malaman natin kung ano yung feelings niya? So for example, let's use our usual topic. Effects of mobile games to senior high school students. 'Di ba? Parang simula pa lang ayan na yung topic natin. Okay. So now, when we say word repetitions, kapag nag-interview ka ng participants at kung ano yung mga choice of words niya, doon yung malalaman kung ano yung feelings ni participants. For example, ang tinanong nyo sa participants is, what do you feel after playing mobile games? Ayun yung tanong ha. Now, si participant number one, halimbawa ang sinagot, after playing mobile games, I feel so aggressive. After playing mobile games, I feel so alone kasi wala na yung friends ko, hindi ko na sila kausap. After playing mobile games, I feel so sad and lonely. So, based on those words, aggressive, sad, lonely, ano sa tingin nyo yung feelings ni participant based on the choice of words? Sinabing aggressive, sad. So, sa tingin nyo kapag ganun yung mga sinasabi or ganun yung mga choice of words, ano kaya yung nararamdaman ni participants? So, yes, it can be disappointed or the participant might be angry. Okay? So, meaning, with the choice of words ni participants, malalaman natin yung feelings niya. So, syempre, pag ganun, disappointed, sad, alone, aggressive. So, di ba, medyo ano siya, negative yung mga words, yung mga terms. So, that is word repetitions, meaning the choice of words that the participant is choosing or saying. No, si participant number two, the same question. Pero ang sinagot naman niya is, di ba, yung question is, what do you feel after playing mobile games? Now, ang sagot naman niya is, I feel so happy, I feel so relieved. Kasi finally, nakalaro ko na ulit yung friends ko. I feel so happy kasi this is my first time. Oh, this is my relaxation. So, yung choice of words naman niya is what? Is something positive, right? So it has something to do with repetitions, okay? So sa choice of words ni participants. Next is indigenous category. Now, what do we mean by indigenous category? When we say indigenous class, this is the local terms or the locality of the researcher and the participants. So for example, our classmate Mark Angelo came from AMA Santiago. So Diyan sa lugar niyo, Mark Angelo. So, Joseph is from AMA Bacolod. Okay, now, ano, Joseph, diyan sa lugar niyo or sa place niyo, what is the language that you are using? Aside from English and aside from Tagalog. Pero 'di ba Ilonggo and Hiligaynon, right? You're using Hiligaynon, right, Joseph? So, when we say indigenous category, it means that kung nasaan place or location yung yung researcher and yung participants. So, if si Joseph yung magkakandak ng research at ang participants niya ay kapitbahay niya or classmate niya, for example, syempre dito sa indigenous part, ano yung language na ginagamit nila. So in this case, they will use Ilonggo and Hiligaynon. So ayan yung indigenous na tinatawag, meaning the locality. Okay? Next is keywords and keywords in context. When we say keywords in context, in reading certain text, we are just looking for the keywords. 'Di ba? Ganyan tayo kasi pag class. So, instead of reading the whole book, instead of reading the whole paragraph, anong gagawin natin? Hanap lang tayo ng keywords tapos gets na natin, 'di ba? So that is keywords in context. Okay? Yeah, we're doing skimming and scanning. And next is compare and contrast. Now, what do we do in compare and contrast? We're looking for two things in compare and contrast. We're looking for what in comparison and contrast? Okay, Madeline, correct the similarity and the differences. Okay, so for example, you interviewed 10 participants. Now, next step is you will look for the similarities of their answers and you will contrast or you will look for the differences in their answers. Okay, ayun yung tinatawag na compare and contrast. Next is social science queries. When we say social science queries, these are the questions that we have based on the surroundings or environment or society from the word social that we have in participants. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, yung question natin and yung answers will based on the social science or will based in our surroundings. Okay, so again, in social science queries, the question and also the answers will base on the surroundings. Next is searching for missing information. So what do we do in searching for missing information? Okay, so when we say searching for missing information, if you are not satisfied with the answers of your participants, you can ask follow-up questions. Okay? So that malaman mo or you can find out the answers that you are looking for. Okay? Next is metaphors and analogies. When we say metaphors and analogies class, in research, we can sometimes lang ha, we can use figures of speech. Do you still remember figures of speech? Aside from metaphors and analogies, ano pa yung ibang figures of speech? Hyperbole, correct, Cordelio. And Madeline. Simile, yes. Di ba? The personification. Yes. So, we have a lot. So, in research also, in research writing, also, we can use those, especially metaphors and analogies. In metaphors, di ba, that is like comparing things or comparing unlikely things, di ba? So, kino-compare natin yung isang bagay dun sa hindi niya katulad. So, that is metaphors and analogies. Okay? Next is transitions. So, ano si transitions class? These are the words or the phrases that we are using to move on to the next topic. Okay, so back in your first semester, if I'm not mistaken, you have English for academic and professional purposes subject, right? Yung mga we discuss or you discuss transitional words to move on to the next topic or ideas. Ang tawag doon is transitions. So ano ba yung mga words na yun? So pwede yung however, furthermore, 'di ba? So that is transitions, meaning when you are transitioning or moving on to the next topic or ideas in your research. Next is connectors. When we say connectors, siya naman tagadugtong, meaning you are what? Connecting ideas together. So these are the words or the phrase that you will use to connect ideas. So sino ba yung mga pwedeng gamitin? Like and, but, yet, so, in addition, also, 'di ba yung mga ganong words, okay? That is connectors. Okay? Next is unmarked text. Unmarked text naman class has something to do with the less relevant or less important details in your research. So, for example, you conducted an interview and then dun sa sagot ni participant na 5 sentences ang sinagot sa inyo, isa lang ang importante. So, siyempre hindi niyo na, hindi naman sa i-disregard. So, they are the less important details. So, ang tawag sa kanila is unmarked text. Okay? Next is powing. So, powing class is highlighting important details. Okay? Si unmarked text, sila yung less important details. Si powing, yung highlighting, making an emphasis to the important details. So, for example, um, 'di ba yung pagka nagte-take down notes tayo, you're using highlighters, 'di ba? Gumamit kayo ng red ball pen, ng blue ball pen, 'di ba? So that is powing. Ibig sabihin you are emphasizing important details. Okay? And the last one is cutting and sorting. In cutting and sorting, dito sa unmarked text and sa powing, 'di ba sa powing, hinighlight niya yung important details. So meron kayong unmarked text, yung less important details. So anong gagawin nyo? You can cut them off, meaning you can remove it if it's not connected, if it's not important to your research. Okay? That's cutting. And sorting. Now, when we say sorting naman, meaning you are arranging. So, for example, nag-interview kayo ng 10 participants, 'di ba? Pag sinabing sorting, i-arrange mo yung sagot nila sa number 1, i-arrange mo yung sagot nila sa number 2, you will arrange their answers in number 3, 4, and 5. Okay? So, that is sorting. Okay, so those are the techniques when you want to discover the themes or the main topic or the main subject in every text or literature. Okay, so next is ways to display qualitative data findings. Now, when we say display qualitative data findings, di ba, we conducted qualitative research. Now, when we do a qualitative research, of course, kaya nga tayo nagre-research is, or the reason why we are conducting a research because we want to find out something, right? Because we're looking for answers. We're looking for data. We're looking for information. Now, after conducting a research, so since you already have the data, you already have the answer or information, the next step is to present it or to display it. Okay? So, after nyong mag-research, after nyong mag-interview, after nyong mag-observe, so since you already have the data, the next step is to display those data. Okay? So, we have 3 ways actually. So, the first is through narrative data. So when we say narrative data or narrative form, ano ulit ginagawa? Yes, Vanessa, correct. You are telling a story. Okay? Meaning, when I say telling a story, so in research, it means that you will narrate it or you will explain it in narrative form. When I say narrative form, class, this is in paragraph form. Pag sinabing paragraph form, you will present the data with the use of words, sentence, or and paragraph. Okay? Pag sinabi siyang narrative or paragraph form, nakatype lang talaga. Ina-type mo lang sa Word. Sa Microsoft Word, for example, yung findings nyo. Okay? So, ganun lang. That is narrative data. Um, Example of this is, when you try to open your LMS, di ba may mga modules doon? That is a narrative form. Why? Because, bakit? Kasi, nakasulat lang siya, naka-explain lang siya. 'Di ba? Wala namang ibang nakasulat dun sa module, explanation lang. With the use of words, with the use of sentences and paragraph, that is narrative form. Okay? Again, pag sinabing narrative form, paragraph form lang. Naka-explain lang siya. Okay? So halimbawa, I ask you to write an essay. Oh, that is narrative form. Okay? That is paragraph form. Ganun lang. Siya yung tinatawag na thesis mismo or research paper. Okay? So, aside from narrative form, we can present it with the use of tabular, graphic, and pictorial presentations. So, ano namang ginagamit dito? Sa narrative form, words and phrases, sentence, paragraph. How about in tabular, graphic, and pictorial presentations? Ano yung gagamitin natin diyan pag sinabing tabular? So, tabular visuals, yes. So, when we say tabular class, this is with the use of tables. 'Di ba? So, napansin nyo dun sa iba nating previous discussions natin, I use tables dun sa data gathering procedure. 'Di ba merong procedure and then description. Nakita niyo yun? That is an example of table or tabular. Okay. Also, graphic organizers. When we say graphic organizers class, ito yung sometimes yung Venn diagram, um, flowcharts, pie graph, okay, and pictorial presentations. Okay. And also, we can display it with the use of conversion of materials into slides. Ano yung slides na tinatawag dyan? Okay, so this is with the use of PowerPoint presentation. So again, when we say conversion of materials into slides, meaning we will convert those data or those information that we put in narrative form into a PowerPoint presentation or slide. So you can use Microsoft PowerPoint, or you can use Google Slides or Prezi or any other available applications to make a presentation. Okay? So, example of conversion of materials into slide is this one, is this presentation in our virtual class. 'Di ba? Kung napansin nyo, yung mga lectures is nasa module dun sa LMS. And then, during virtual class, we use PowerPoint presentation na, 'di ba? So, that is conversion of materials into slides. Okay? So, now, we have three modes for displaying qualitative data. When we say displaying qualitative data, again, after having the data or the information, now next is how are you going to present it? So we have three types of display. First is word tables and lists. So we use word tables or tabular when we present a summary of findings. Chronology, when we say chronology, the step-by-step process, yung pagkakasunod-sunod, aggregate characteristics, and a list of several individual people in a study. So this is an example of tables. Yung merong rows and columns. So, I'm pretty sure na nakakita na kayo ng ganyan. Okay? So, that is word tables and list. Also, graphics. When we say graphics naman, it can be a map, it can be a layout, it can be a chart like a pie chart, bar graph, flow chart, or any other organizational chart, or even family trees. Okay? Okay, so this is an example. This is what we call the flow chart. So instead of explaining things in narrative form, gagawa kayo ng chart or ng um, maps. Okay? Ang tawag din is graphics. Next is pictures. So when we say pictures, it can be a photograph or it can be an artwork, drawings, or any other reproductions. Okay? So, yan. So you can use your pictures, you can use logo, or you can use icons if you want in displaying qualitative data. Okay? So aside from narrative form or paragraph form class, you can use these three modes.